Aloha and welcome back for the afternoon portion of Portal to Ascension's weekend here. Cosmic reunion. Just take a look around the room and see who you're reuniting with. How many lifetimes have you known these people in this room? Perhaps you haven't seen them for a few. I'm sure you're getting to meet each other at the break. And just remember that that is obviously one of the really important parts of the weekend is us reconnecting with each other. So please don't be shy. Feel free to make new friends and just be bold. If you feel attracted to somebody, it's because you have something in common or you have a message for each other. So just go right up to them and introduce yourself. It's good practice for doing that in the supermarket when you're in line and there's this person in front of you. You're like, oh my God, I know this person. I have to meet this person. But it's like, yeah, just go ahead. Just go ahead. You'll be able to just tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, Spirit's telling me that I need to meet you right now. Has anybody ever done that? Okay, I've been practicing. It works. You don't have to worry. It is going to be someone who's going to be like, yeah, I was feeling that too. Or, really? I'm having a problem with this. And you'll have the answer. Something. So part of our reconnection at this time is doing that, is meeting each other, is being bold, lifting up off of the constructs of the old paradigm that say we can't do that that's just not done. Well, it is done. That's because who are we? We're God in a body. We're essence of the divine presence of life itself and those other aspects of ourselves out there. It's time for us to reconnect and rekindle that spark because we have work to do together. Okay? Promise? Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And welcome back to our internet audience there for the live stream. We have a really, really amazingly special guest here now. And I just want really, let's drop from our minds to our hearts. Let's just open the heart a little bit now. Take a deep breath. The morning with Suzanne and Miriam has really prepared us for this next experience. And I really want to invite you to feel the energy of what Itasha is bringing to us. She's a sacred wisdom keeper of the Apache and also deeply connected with the Arcturians. And she's going to be inviting us into a new way of being, which Miriam was pointing to, which Suzanne's talk was perhaps preparing us for. And this is where the work really begins, when we actually allow ourselves to experience a different way. It may not be new altogether, because perhaps there have been other times or there's been part of our ancestral lineage where we have had these types of experiences. Maybe we've had them in this lifetime. But she lives a way of life where this is sustained, where this is where she lives. She lives in the heart, and she is governed through spirit with the sanction of every moment in its sacredness. So it is with great, great honor and pleasure that we introduce Itasha. Thank you.
Dagote, which is the Apache greeting that has more meanings than I could say in a few sentences. It means welcome, it means good morning, it means glad to see you. I have come here today to share with you many things, a way of life perhaps that is very, very different from yours. But do understand that your way of life is very, very different from us. So here we have worlds and cultures coming together, hopefully to share and have interaction. Everything that is done amongst all indigenous peoples is in the form of creation. According to creation, everything happens in a circular fashion, and that means that there's no beginning, there's no end, and it is eternal. And it also means that because creation is ongoing, eternal, and spiritual, that everything that we do must be done in a sacred manner. So even though I might become boring or share some very mundane things with you, it is important to present them in truth and in sacredness. So that having been said, I would like to open this meeting of our worlds with a sacred song. This is the Cherokee morning song, and it is a blessing song. Thank you. Oh, Takuya-san, thank you. We have a word in Apache that I think applies to you and to us and to we and to the planet at this time. It is Dejoni. Dejoni means beautiful. So I think that you are all Dejoni. Thank you. And that having been said, we come now to some very important things. For indigenous people, there has not been an ascension. For indigenous people, there has been a way of life that is in a sacred circle and a sacred spiral. And we have always known of star people. We have always known the universal star laws and star knowledge. It is at this time in 2012 that the word has been given to all wisdom keepers, medicine people, indigenous, across the globe, from Aborigine to Germany, to Lapland, to China, to Japan, to North America, to Central America, to South America, to all the four corners and beyond of creation, that we are now to gather to share this information. So all of our holy people, our medicine people came and said, we choose you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and all of you, come out of your wiki-ups, come out of your houses, come out of your cities. We want you to go amongst people and share what we have known for a long time. And what is it that we have known for a long time? That we are sacred, that this earth is sacred, that the galaxies and stars are sacred, and that we are all interconnected. And the very minute that we forget that, we are what is called out of balance. And when we become out of balance because we are unaware of how to walk this earth, and when we walk this earth, we are to leave no mark. That means we are not to hurt this earth. And we talk so much of the earth, yet we do not understand that when we talk of the earth, we are talking of each other, because you are created of the earth. You are one with the earth, the mountains, the water, the air, the sun. It is not the earth that needs you. It is you that needs the earth. And you are one with this creation. So when you go out of balance with this creation force, then the earth goes out of balance. And when the earth goes out of balance, it begins to die. And when our mother, Gaia, you call her, when our mother begins to die, we begin to die. And when our mother begins to die, she cries. And her tears are the storms. Her tears are the oceans. Her tears are the animals begging for a change. So when humanity hears this cry and sees these tears, and the oceans weep, and the storms come, and the tsunamis come, and the hurricanes come, and the global warming comes, and we go, what is wrong here? Then we must step back, and we must begin to look at how we can live in harmony with the earth. But because we have forgotten that, we have fallen asleep. And as we fell asleep, we dreamt, and we dreamt, and we dreamt. And then when we woke up, the dream keepers were there, and they said, wake up, 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 wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. We do this with our children. This is what is happening now. So, in this attempt to wake you up, no one likes to be woken suddenly. I don't know about you in the morning, but I like my coffee or tea or something. So, a lot of people are pretty grumpy. This wake up thing, this is hard. This is rough because you slept so long. You slept so deep, but you dreamt. And when you awaken, you remember, I had a dream, gotta go, you know. But bits and snatches come more. And as you awaken more, you remember what the dream keepers made sure was implanted in you. And who were these dream keepers? The guardians of all the universe. Who were these dream keepers? The guardians of all the four corners. Who were these dream keepers? All the archangels. Who were these dream keepers? All the masters. Who were these dream keepers? Your star brothers and sisters from the benevolent nations that work with the archangels and angels. Meanwhile, the indigenous people, we did not go to sleep. Why we were allowed to stay awake, I do not know. But I do know we were allowed to stay awake because we committed ourselves to keep the sacred fires burning. We committed ourselves to watch over and guard Mother Earth. And this was a great sacrifice for all peoples. No one tribe, no one race, no one person can claim they did this. It was done across all the world. And this sacred knowledge was protected in libraries. It was protected in hieroglyphics. It was protected in pyramids. It was protected in the Mayan calendar. It was protected by the medicine people and working with them, wisdom keepers. And because we did not always have books to write things, it was oral tradition. So you had to do it the hard way. Sit and listen to someone talk to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. So we had to learn from our elders, and the way they made sure we would remember was not just through the ceremonies, but through the dances, through the songs, through the stories. But these dances and these songs and these stories, they told of the origin and the creation of this earth and what would have to be done when you woke up. So now we didn't go to sleep. The dream keepers did not have to put dreams in us. We've been conscious the whole time. And there are so many still to awaken. And the stories of creation, you've heard them all. You know Zachariah Sitchkin, you know the Chichen Itza, you know of the Mayan calendar, you know of the Hopi prophecies, you know these things. These are the stories for all humankind. They were not meant to be kept for any one person, but the time had to be right. Not enough people awoke prior to the harmonic convergence in 86. And then there were more people that awoke in 99. But now in 2012, believe it or not, you are all scheduled to wake up. So we have come to bring you your coffee. Please don't ask for cream or sugar. It's black. There's too many of you. So I lived on the Apache Reservation the last 10 years. I am married to an Apache crown dancer. We keep ceremony over the gun. Do any of you know Apache tradition or the gun? The gun are the sacred dancers that do our dances, that come down from the mountains, that meet with all the star beings. And I'm only speaking for the Apache, I can't speak for all the tribes. But they all do the same thing, just different names, right? We're all people, just different names, so we're all the same. So the Gan, when they come, they give the messages for humanity, and they give the instructions on how to live. And then the crown dancers come, and they dance, and they do ceremony, and we're told, no, not yet, no, not yet. But then, in March of 2012, and I said this at the beginning, but in March of 2012, the medicine men came, and this is when they said that we were to speak. So about 3.5 years ago, they came and they told me I had to leave the reservation and come and work in the city where I had not been. I lived way up in the mountains, about 9,000 feet. That's real pretty there. Don't see any people, sometimes 2 months at a time. Anyway, so they don't let us out much. So anyway, when they said to come down, I came down and I met some very nice people that were in what was called your UFO movement. But I had never heard of UFOs. Never. I had never read a book. I had never seen pictures. Why do we need this? We live with UFOs. So they started exchanging information with me and exchanging with them. And the result was that in the course of this, I did invite some of them. They were interacting in a research group that I mentioned to Leah, to come into my home and take some measurements of like sounds and starcraft. And we live with what you call star beings, and I am a star being. So it's, who is the alien? step away, So as we come out of the closet, my one friend wrote a book called Star Cousin Comes Out of the Closet. I said, a lot of us have come out of the closet. Will you accept us? Do you want to hear? Do you want to see? Do you want to have an interaction with us? Or would you only like to read a book about us? So, as this went forward and the pats on the head, nice girl, came, some photographs were taken in my home by my daughter, and she just had a little cell phone. She took a photograph, and we have star beings all around us all the time. They're here visible and invisible. I'm sure some of you sitting here in physical form are star beings. Let's get rid of the concept that they're up there or they're invisible. We are not invisible. We are amongst you. We walk amongst you, marry amongst you, live amongst you, work next to you, talk with you, interact with you. You would be shocked to possibly know your neighbor could be a star being. How do you feel? The shopkeeper. So, as this went on and these pictures came out on the computer, the same organization saw them, and they said, "Oh, you must put this on the internet for the world." And I said, "Oh, I don't know." This was in January 2012, and then the elders and medicine people in March said, "Go, go, go, go now. The world is dying. All medicine people, all wisdom keepers, our heart breaks. So we are here. We have come to you because you cannot come to us. Where we live, it would be too difficult for you, both in terms of where indigenous people live. You would not survive long in our lifestyle, I guarantee you. A few hours in the dirt and a wiki up and sleeping on the ground, you would be crying. I cry, So, but the difference is we have been trained for millennia this way. So we live in two worlds, and we can be in our world, we can be in yours, but we recognize that not all of you can come to ours. Okay, so the pictures, then he said, put on the internet. I said, no, and I'm not sure what to do with this. And then they said, my star family said, okay, there will be a special man, and there will be a special place. And when we tell you go, you go. Well, all indigenous, all sacred people, all of you as holy people, you know when you are told go, you do not argue, you go. When the angels say go, you go. You don't go but or maybe. Go, I'm gone. And if you are a sacred person walking in a sacred way, you know that it is the angels. There is no question. And that is the training upon awakening. You've heard all of that. How do you tell when it's your imagination? How do you tell when it's really an angel or a spirit? If you have been walking in a sacred way, and if you have been awake for a while, and if you have been doing your meditation, and if you have been doing your prayers, and if you have been doing your ceremony, and if you have been coming together in sacred space, you know. No one needs to tell you. So I've come here because they said that the place to share this, and I shared a little bit, but not since these have been developed. I have not shared these developed pictures. The place to share this was here, and the man was our esteemed host, Ilya. And I said, okay, then I will go to this place with this person because this is what they want. And who am I to question? So, as you see these pictures, I'll give you an explanation as we go along. These are not drawings. These are not channelings. These are photographs. Click. These are real people in my home with my family from another planet. And let us look at them together. In just a moment, I'm going to ask Ilya to open a file, and this is the introduction. Okay, some of the first people that I met that were very interested in who we were and what we were doing was someone, and I'm not going to use their full name out of respect today, involved with C. SETI and Dr. Stephen Greer. And I asked him to go ahead, since he wanted to, bring the same equipment into my home that Dr. Greer used in his C. SETI contact groups to measure anomaly and to make contact. And so we cleared our home, and he brought in the same exact equipment that Dr. Greer has, and he set it up in our home. And he is a friend and someone I esteem and respect dearly. And he sent me afterwards, he said, "Tasha, I got nothing." But then he got home and he said, oh my God, we made contact." And I said, "We?" And he said, "Well, it's there." So what he did, and his name is Charlie, is he put it on a CD for me, and he wrote a letter that explains this. And this is in my living room. And this predates the Arcturians coming into our home by about 4 months. And by the way, Charlie was also involved in the development of the pictures. And he explained to me that Dr. Greer and others in the field you want to be very careful something is not photoshopped. And I said, "What is this photoshopped?" And he said, "It's where people make up pictures. They make you look pretty when you don't kind of look too good." And I said, "Oh no, well, you don't want it photoshopped." So Charlie and another friend that does Caretakers of Earth, and I will acknowledge Neil Sickles, who's a documentary filmmaker, they are the two people that developed these pictures. And Neil also put down the documentation information off the camera that shows the date and the time and that it's not photoshopped. But the sound that Charlie's instruments, the C. SETI instruments, were able to record took place in my living room, and I'll show you the opening picture when we get to the pictures, right near the chair where I was sitting, not maybe as far away from where the Arcturians are as I am from our host. So the sound that he got, why he was so excited, is it was in reference to a question and a request that Charlie made. And as he documented, this is contact. So with no further ado, we'll begin. Okay. Yeah, well, let's go to the the letter. If you open living room sound, it should show the letter, and then we can go to the audio. Oh, this is him talking. Okay, the letter should have been there. I think it said, is there not a leaving? No, it should be, okay, the email, where it says email, there we go. Oh, no, that's, okay, back to audio file. All right, here we go. And this should be at 2 minutes and 29 seconds, I believe. And I'm sorry you can't see the letter, but what happened is Charlie set the equipment up, he cleared the house, and then he walked out of the house. And then he walked back in. Well, the way the equipment's set back up, there's there's two speakers, and the speaker on the right picked up the sound, and the sound is in response to Charlie's request for contact, and it goes hand in hand with the photos you will see. So I think it's at 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
You guys can't hear it. Can we plug the sound in somehow into here? Can we plug the sound so everyone can hear it? Can we plug the sound so everyone can hear the audio? Yeah, I did that. It's still very low.
Ready?
Well, I'm going to take this outside. I want to do some.
And if you need to go back and forth through the back door here, it's all ready for you. There's a letter that explains this, but he recorded everything. Oh, please do. It's right down the hallway. The children are. And if you're wondering at the darkness, the environment was created for them.
Right. The bathroom at the end of the
Oh,
hall?
please, yes. And we'll just stay completely out of your way. That's the back door. Charlie. Amanda, I'm going to close Alexander's door. Can we go to 2 minutes and 20 seconds? And 29 seconds. Can we go to 2 minutes? Okay. We're fast forwarding. There. Okay. You come back. Turn it off now. Go to 229 or back where you got the sound. No, prior to that. Okay. Yes, and then if you could pause it back at 2:29, 2 minutes and 29, and then, or 2:22, where the funk was. Prior to that, perhaps, back to that. Okay, that would be good.
Should I play it?
Yes, I hope the computer will pick it up. Okay, and I start. Okay, I realize that from a non-scientific point of view, this may seem very boring and not meaningful. From a scientific CSETI contact point of view, this was highly significant. And the letter didn't show up here, but he did write a long letter explaining it. The thunk you heard on the equipment was in a completely empty room. The equipment was set up at the level of a very tall man, and it was at the request of the my CSETI friend to make contact. And that was their response. And there's no way, and he explains this, that this sound could have happened. It's not an anomaly in the room, it's not an anomaly in the equipment. And this equipment is very scientific, it's highly sensitive, and it was screened out and examined in every way. So we're going to fast forward here, and it doesn't, I can see it doesn't excite you the way it would have a CSETI or scientist, but it did excite them because it was the way the equipment recorded it, there was no other way. And it is definitely a contact sound. So we're going to go into the images now. And if we could go into the email where it shows, yes. And this goes down where I go down into where it was being emailed from my Verizon mobile email, all right? And then we can go back to images. Okay. Right? Yes, thank you. There should have been a picture.
It might be in another folder, maybe in August Beings photos.
Okay, yes.
The first one?
Yes, let's take a look at that. And, okay, thank you. All right, that pitch.
Make it full screen.
Okay. This picture was taken, and I do have Neil's and Charlie's documentation from the phone that it's not photoshopped. This was a little Verizon phone, and my daughter took a picture of me. I interdimensionally travel. I had to return, and I said, just take the picture quickly so I can leave. So she took it, and then she put it on the computer, and she went, "Mom, you better come here." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" And she said, the picture has captured all of the Arcturians in our living room. That is our living room closet, and to this side of me is our front door. And if you look here, is there a pointer to point? Okay, thank you. If you look here, you will see this here is a little girl, all right? And we're going to sequentially go through these. They aren't going to be blurry. And down below her are two men. All right. There's a story to be told here. And then above her is another man. Well, these pictures came out better in picture form than they're coming out here. So when they were given to Sisati and to Neil, they had to take their equipment and do what is called in science erasing the noise, bringing out the, getting rid of the pixels and clarifying, isolating out the images. So with the help of the three of us and all of this equipment, they were able to isolate out the images. And the original picture shows a lot of purple haze, and specifically, the only one you could see originally was the little girl. So this little girl, there's an eye there, and there's an eye there. There's, when Charlie first saw it, he said, "Oh, she's got cat ears." "Oh, there are cats on Arcturus." I said, "Well, yeah, but she's not a cat. She's a little girl, and a beautiful one." So as we went in and looked at the picture, he went, "Oh, they're ponytails." So those are two little ponytails there. And she is looking, her eyes, one eye there, towards the family room where my children were playing. I have a 10 and 6-year-old, and she wanted to play with them. So she sort of came through this electrical force field, and I will get scientific on you later. The first one, and then the adults came behind her, "Come back here," and she was, "No." So she is very much in the light, whereas around them you'll see purple and you'll see gray. I'm writing a book, and the name of it is through the purple haze. And I'll explain what this purple haze is, because you're going to see a lot of it. All right, so, and her name, by the way, is Ayala, and she's a beautiful little Arcturian child of mine on Arcturus. Arcturus is in the Boots constellation, and there are several planetary star systems around it and behind it. The one that she is from one of the planetary systems behind it. It's roughly 450 light years, and I am working with some physicists right now in terms of the science behind this, and I'm going to get into the science, because if we don't get into the science, then it's all a blur, and we'll go back to sleep. So, the next picture, okay. Back to the, where are they? Okay, so the first one is isolated, okay. And this particular picture, it's not coming out very well. Can we, okay, no, isolated, okay. Okay, we'll just sort of stay there a little bit, we will stay there. But if you look, you'll see one eye here, and you'll see another eye here. You'll see a nose, and there is a mouth. And of course, when Charlie first did it, because we tried, none of us were great artists. I'm an artist, a little better than Charlie. Neil wasn't artistic at all, and so Charlie said, oh, he's got an Egyptian headdress on. But we later found out that this is not an Egyptian headdress, these are light rays, and we're going to get into that. And it's important because when you meet people from other planets and you see all of this light around them, it distorts the shape of their head and their eyes. So this man's face is not really pointed, it is more round. So the ones that say isolated are the raw photos. The ones that say traced are what Cicetti and Neil went back in to try to bring out more. Okay. So the next one is the traced, where we, and this took several months to do, by the way. Oh, he didn't trace it. Okay, we'll go to image 2. Okay, we must move along then. Yes, isolated. Okay, and this particular one here, there were 5 people all in all. There's an eye there, and there's an eye there. There is a nose here. The brow ridge is quite high here, and also, whoops, I'm sorry. And thank you. And also over here, when we were able to draw it, we saw a very large cranial area, a very high-bridged nose, a very noble face, deep-set eyes, and I do have the actual photographs. I'm sorry they do not come out as well on this. Okay, so there's the eyes, and this is an Arcturian man. Okay, and here's the nose. The mouth is down in here. You're going to notice around these pictures, and I will get into this, a lot of purple and a lot of white light, and I'll get into that after I show you the pictures. Okay, image 3, isolated. Okay, and this is Ayala, our little sweetheart, and she, okay, she has, actually her eyes are blue when you see them on the computer with Neil's equipment, and they're blue, and her hair is a light blonde, just a most beautiful, beautiful child. And she also has, as is typical of many star children, Arcturian children, high cranial area, And once again, they're not cat ears, they're ponytails with a lot of light image around it. So that's her forehead. That is one eye right there and another eye there. Okay. And then the nose here and the mouth. Now we'll go to the traced, which is phase 3, and Neil did his best to trace. And I know it comes out looking very ugly when it's traced over, but what we were more concerned about was identifying, because mind you, we were going about this very scientifically, we really truly were, was identifying where the features in the cranial area were. So he just tried to trace her eyes, which is one eye there and one eye there, as we say, very high cranial area. And you know, he did realize, and we laughed about it, that this was not an ear, it was part of a ponytail. And you could see it on his equipment. I do not have that equipment here. I have his developed photos. And then he tried to get the nostrils. And this is not her mouth. This is, you know, much like you'd outline your lips for lipstick or something. This is where the mouth is. And a very long face, or face is very long. Okay, next one. Thank you. Isolated, yes. Is this tray isolated? Okay, this is image number 4, and this was down, the 2 men down below Ariella. And in this particular one, there's the eye. There's the eye. The eyes, as I said, and in the photographs I have, which I have in a book that I'm sharing with Ilya, the eyes are blue, the skin is very fair, the hair is blonde, and the bridge of the nose is very high and regal, deep set eyes, high cranial area. And, you know, these are actual documented photographs, so there's no making this up. Okay. Traced, yes. And then he went back in to trace them. Thank you. And I think in doing that, he was able to define them a little more. One eye there, and another one over here. And if you look, which this screen, I don't know why I isn't showing it up, but you can see the iris of the eyes is quite light. It's almost like a transparent type of a blue. And again, very high ridge nose and cranial area and his mouth there. Okay. Yes. Okay, then we should go to 5 traced. And this, I think, was a photo that possibly, I don't know if we can enlarge on that. Can we? Or, okay, that possibly photographed the best. Is it easier to see if we make it smaller? Is this easier for you to see? Okay, and this one came out, he photographed a little better, and his eyes are quite light. One eye there, and then Neil outlined the eyes. His nose, and his lips came out a little better. And once again, very long face. And they were very, very tall. So these men were very tall. The top of the ceiling in my room is, I don't know, maybe about 20 feet, particular room we have. So they were beyond this, so they ranged in size from 5 feet to about 15 feet tall. These are very big beings. Okay, I'll stop there, I believe. Thank you. I think, I don't know if this is the cropped one. Should I try? Okay. And this is one that Neil tried to do another photographic technique to get rid of the noise and the pixels and bring out better resolution. So he cropped it, and he worked with Charlie on that. So this was one man at the very top. And then we have another man here. We have Ariella here. And then we have this man here. And then the last one that you saw down here. So this might seem very primitive to you, but I'm going to explain the photography, and then you won't think it's quite so primitive when I get into the science behind it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Maybe I should keep one of them up, or is there a way to enlarge maybe the fifth one? It cropped and enhanced. I don't know if that will. Okay, that was another, you can see her pretty well there, the little girl. Like we said, we tried a variety of techniques. Understanding this was taken with a Verizon phone. I mean, if we'd had some good equipment, imagine what we would have gotten. And also totally unplanned. Okay, so there we have that. And you have another face here. You see those eyes there. And another one here. Okay, so we move down. Okay. What I'm going to explain to you is the phenomena surrounding this photograph. Not being content to leave it to CSETI and expert photographers, it was important to get with some scientists. So I met with 2 friends that are physicists and sent them the photos to have them examined at actually Isola Labs in Chandler. And my one friend, Mr. Johnson, who's a scientist there, examined the picture and went into great scientific detail. I do not have time to go into with you today, but it's pretty deep. And basically, what he was explaining to me in these pictures, why you're getting the purple and the hazing, is a lot of this is, these are ultraviolet rays, which are at the highest part of the spectrum that you can see with the human eye. And what happens with the ultraviolet rays, and he also explained surrounding it, are the gamma rays that many of you have been discussing. And these gamma rays and ultraviolet rays, when these gamma rays come in, they cause little mini explosions. So the purple light that you're seeing and the bits of white around all of the people's heads are explosions of ultraviolet light and gamma rays. These explosions, and I don't have a lot of time scientifically, but I am doing a workshop at another conference some other time because it would take 2 hours. These ultraviolet and gamma rays, they come from beyond the Milky Way. You have most people at 9 hertz. You have satellite rays, which are at about 800. And then you go beyond the satellite rays, and you're going to gamma rays, which are coming from other planetary systems. Now, when you begin to see this type of phenomena, he was explaining to me scientifically, this is coming from off-planet. There's no way, and they've examined these pictures every which way, that you're going to get these types of explosions of light that you're seeing unless they're coming from the ultraviolet and gamma rays. And many of these rays are related to, and I'll wrap this up quickly, to what many of you are aware of, and many jokes and talk about black holes. Well, as anybody involved in science knows, a black hole sucks in energy. What a lot of people don't know is the other phenomena, and this has to do with Einstein's theory and a Rosen theory, of relativity 3. And relativity 3 says that matter can be created. When matter is created out the other end of a black hole, it's called white light. And it's called a white hole. So the Fermi telescope that is currently in Tucson, Arizona, has been recording a lot of this phenomena. My friends work with a lot of this phenomena. And when you see these types of measurements of rays, which we're back to Charlie measuring the activity in my home with instruments, these are scientifically measured. You can't make this up, all right? These are measured with instruments. When you get these frequencies, they read it as very specific frequency. They are coming, and they've been recorded by the Fermi telescope from off-planet. So what you have here is you have actual star beings that are coming through interdimensional travel from another galaxy that have learned how to work with gamma rays, black holes, and white holes to travel to your planet and to materialize physically. And on that happy note, I think my time is at a close. So many of the photographs that have been happening of orbs and flashing lights are catching the ships and the people that are coming interdimensionally, traveling through these wormholes. Because otherwise, if you know the speed of light, and if you know anything about space travel and shuttlecraft, there's no way that they could get here in an ordinary spacecraft from another planetary system to your planet, unless they're using a type of science beyond anything that you are currently able to harness. So when we start getting into harnessing ultraviolet light, harnessing gamma rays, we're talking about energy. We're talking about time travel. We're talking about interplanetary travel. We're talking about first contact. And I leave you with that today. And the story and journey continue. But I would like to close with a song for you, please. And thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions for Itasha? Yes. Will you take a few questions? Yes. Okay, Gina. All right.
I could just speak in the people. What are the measurements at this point? What are the measurements for technical measurements for ultraviolet rays and gamma rays that you were referring to? Still Because you referred to measurements of the human and sound that you talked about.
Actually, I have a whole book that does that frequency. When we get into the ultraviolet, we're at a frequency of about 800, and I don't have all of my notes here. If you're going to go into gamma rays, you're way beyond that. Satellites operate at around 300, and just to give you something to compare it to, you are vibrating right now at 9 hertz. So that's at 9. You're vibrating at 9. The Earth is vibrating at 9. That is what, as of 30 days ago, the physicist community measured the frequency at. So
is that why they are appearing blurry in the photographs?
that's why they're appearing blurry, because if you're going from 9 hertz to 800 and beyond, their frequency is at such a high rate that to be able to capture it on film, they have to slow themselves down. And when they're coming in, slowing down at that rate, the explosion of the molecules of the gamma rays, the ultraviolet rays, according to my science friends, cause little mini explosions. Now, another thing, too, is these gamma rays are currently being used in the medical field. They're being used in surgery. Yes, they are. They're being experimented with in brain surgery. It's the wave of the future, to use that term. But what these gamma rays do, and this might be significant for you to know, is they actually change your DNA. They change your molecular structure. And they change it, and this is science. We're beyond metaphysics now. We're into science, true and false. They change it into a type of a crystalline structure. So as these portals open and these gamma rays and intergalactic beings enter, your DNA structure is being actually altered to a crystalline structure.
So you're saying they, the beings, and they, the rays themselves that the beings are emanating, are causing this to interact with our bodies?
Correct. Because the only way you can exist in that particular frequency is to alter your molecular structure. So their molecular structure is at the frequency of a crystalline rate. It's beyond anything your equipment can measure. You do have one thing right now that can measure it, and that is the equipment down in Tucson and the Fermi telescope and some other places in Russia, actually.
So it snuck into that photograph on purpose.
Yes, and when they did, and I asked them why, they told me quite honestly they wanted the world to see pictures of them. They wanted the world to know who they were, and that they would tell me where to go to show them and who to show them to. So they told me to come here. You're welcome.
Actually, just had one question from the internet. Are these pictures up on the internet somewhere that they could take a closer look?
They
or do you have a website?
I have a website. The main one of me is up. The photos themselves were not put up because I was told to explain in large groups. I have one more large group to explain to on 12/12/12 at the Star Knowledge. And then they could go up. Because if you just see these pictures and you don't know the science behind it and you have no understanding, I would have to write everything. But it is important that this be presented out in person initially. And yes, then I will put them up. But not now. No. Yes.
I can't stop. 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. I can't stop asking questions, sorry. Thank you so much. Amazing bravery, I think, and incredible. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Just interested to know just about your first contact experience, how it happened, and how you continue your story. How do you continue your contact?
Okay, I've been told I have 4 or 5 minutes, so my first contact experience took place in my crib. And when I realized that I was an ordinary baby because there were star people all around me, and I did have humanoid parents that raised me, and I bless them in gratitude for putting up with me, because it was a difficult thing to raise a star baby. But they taught me telepathy, teleportation, what you call astral travel, clairvoyance, clairaudience, streams of white light, etc. And they've been around me my entire life. I have been out of civilization for approximately 38 years of my life, not interacting with too many humans or people, but interacting with indigenous tribes and exchanging off-planetary knowledge and Earth information. So that's it. I have constant contact, what you call contact. I interdimensionally travel, and it was inevitable that I would come in contact with your scientists. If you're going to make this type of a statement, and if you're going to do these types of things, then at some point you have to interact and gift humanity. You can't just walk around and say, I'm a star person. No, it's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange and a sharing of knowledge. But most specifically for myself, realizing that my energy field was different, exploding out lights, shutting down computer systems and labs, and wondering how to exist in your world. And I found out the only way I can exist in your world is the same way that the pictures you saw can exist in your world, is to dampen down my frequency. So I have to come down to a very slow, low frequency. But you can only do that for a certain amount of time. So what happened, and they measured this frequency of me, is it's like a pressure cooker. Eventually it'll explode. So when I explode, your lights burst, and this is where Charlie came in. I was exploding cash registers at Walmart. I was exploding windows out of cars. I went to the Star Conference in Cahokia Mounds, shut down every single bit of their computer equipment, went to their Hilton hotel, thought I was going to get kicked out because I exploded all their lights and had to pay for it. So when you realize that you carry this type of energy, that you can impact the earth, then you can't stay long in crowded places. So what's happening with these gamma rays coming in and off-planet beings, they're bringing this same energy that I just described to you. So either your planet ascends or things begin to explode. Tsunamis, the oceans, the earthquakes, the mountains. People begin to have meltdowns. So your planet, whether anybody likes it or not, is ascending. And as it ascends, there will be big, big changes in everything. Thank you. It is a raising.
Up higher, and so the explosion is because we've been in a dampened place, and now we're opening up through the explosion of
Right, but scientifically speaking, what's taking place in the Ascension is as these wormholes, if you will, these white holes, explosions of emitting matter come forth with the gamma rays aimed at your planet, it is going to cause frequency changes. And this is science. So you must raise your frequency, because scientifically, from a physics point of view, the Earth resonates at 9, you resonate at 9. All right, your heart frequency is 528, as you know, megahertz. Everybody knows that. And the minimal frequency that you need to be resonating at in order to go into this scientific and spiritual ascension process is this heart frequency, 528. The most important thing you can do at this time, and everybody's told you, but perhaps you didn't understand all the science and the spiritual laws involved, is to go into your heart. Come from your heart. Work from your heart. Speak from your heart. Act and live from your heart. And you will be at one. And all will be well. From your heart. Aho mitakias.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you, Itasha. It's, a lot to integrate for us, yeah? Everybody feeling like let's let all that into our bodies all the way too, because as we get back in touch with the earth and the mother planet, and as we open our foot chakras as well as our crown chakras, we let this information and this light and this energy all the way in, then our bodies become the transducers of this energy too, which also helps others from exploding here and there. Literally, our bodies are the transducers and conductors of this divine energy. So that's why it's important to take care of our bodies and to give them plenty of really good water, and to start adding more organic food and raw food in particular, because the biofield of the food itself is going to enhance your biofield, and your biofield won't have to work so hard taking in a food that does not have a strong biofield, if that makes sense. The guides that I work with speak about that quite a bit. So the encouragement is, as we're going through these shifts and changes, to up-level the diet, and that will help us up-level the frequency of our physical vessel, so that it's not just our spirit that's raising, it's also our physical vessel is able to actually increase its vibration. And so speaking of that, let's go outside and stretch and drink some water, get some good nourishment, get lots of hugs, open that heart, and we'll be back with Peter Sterling in about 15 minutes. Thank you very much.